BBN, what's going on? This is your boy Big Mike and the loyal BBN fan show. Let's get it. So there's a lot of stuff going on with college with Kentucky basketball right now. Mainly the Club Blue, the event they just had, the camps that they just had as well too. A lot of fans are getting a chance to come out now and meet and greet the Wildcats, getting autographs, getting pictures. So as I was watching videos that were sent to me, and that I was able to go on YouTube and actually watch, something really, I mean, watching the players move and watching them interact and kind of seeing their personalities and all this kind of stuff, it it really really got me thinking about who's going to start for us, and not just who's going to start for us, but like who's going to be the sixth man off the bench. And so I kind of put this together right here, and you guys can help me, and you guys can tell me if I missed something or whatever. You guys are always helping me get this right. So don't be afraid to let me know if I missed something here, or if I put someone in the wrong place where they shouldn't be at. Let's discuss it. Let's talk about it, and let's have a good time. So let me just get this started, and let me just read off the players. So what I did is I took the players and I put them in positions of where I think, I hope that these guys are going to be playing. Is maybe one guy that I wasn't really sure where to put him at, but I put him there, and you guys can let me know as well too. I did split up, just so you guys know. I did split up not Trey, but Trent and Perry. I I I split those players up in position wise or whatever. But once again, you guys can let me know. I think the fifth, the five position was probably the easiest thing for me to actually put down. So you guys let me know what I missed or whatever, and we will keep rolling from there. So at the one, I got Butler and Chrissa. I think it's pretty. I think it's pretty easy to say that these guys are going to be our point guards for the year. I think these guys are going to come in. They're going to be the four generals. These are the guys that that possibly might have a chance to be a captain, especially with Butler. I look for Butler to be maybe somebody that could be a main leader, not just because of his defense, but I think of his leadership and everything. I think he may come in and he may actually be our team captain. Still got to see how that actually goes. So once again, I got at the one, I got Butler, and I got Chrissa at the two. Now here's kind of where ah this is kind of where I wasn't really sure, because we got guards and just trying to put them in a position. So at the two, of course, I got Jackson. I think he's going to play. I think he's going to play that two. That two position. Unless I'm wrong, but I think he's going to play that two. He's 6'7", so for him to play the two, which he's going to be shooting and whatnot. So I think he's going to come in as a two. And also I put, now this is the one where I said I wasn't really sure if I'm going to get this right or not. And please don't bite my head off. Just just correct me and just tell me that you would move him or somebody else to a different position. I get it. But I got Otega Tron playing at the two. I think he can still come in. I think he's still a player that can definitely come in and he can definitely get his shot. So I wouldn't count him out as being playing off the ball at the two. At the three, I put Brea, I put Chandler, and I put Perry. I think those guys kind of fit the description of playing threes. Brea, we're not looking for him to come in and do a whole lot. He's coming in as a three. He's coming in as a shooter. Let's make sure we can get him open. He can get open, get his feet planted, get the ball, and release the ball and get up as many threes as possible in a ball game, so we can use his talents. So his talents is not wasted by everybody else taking so many threes. I think we still got a team that can still shoot a lot of threes, but let's be honest, he's it's safe to say he's the best that we got. I mean, you don't bring a guy like that in. You don't give him the recognition of being one of the best 3-point shooters in the nation, and then you bring him in, and then he doesn't get his shots off. So definitely, I look for him to be that three going into the season. So once again, the threes are Brea, Chandler, and Perry. That's not real, besides Brea, that doesn't really, like, I'm not really saying Chandler's going to play more than Perry or Perry's going to play more than Chandler. I just kind of put it in that order as far as, and actually, I'm just looking at it and it's actually in alphabetical order, and I didn't even realize that. But yeah, those are my threes. My fours that I got are Carr, Ansley, Trent. Those are my three fours right there. I think I really feel like even though I didn't get a chance to watch Trent play in high school, just watching some of his highlights, I feel like he can be a four. I feel like that he can stretch the floor, and I feel like that he's somebody that that would make the other team have to come out, respect, and guard him so we can clear up the middle. So hopefully he can come in, he can be a four. You can probably put him at a 3-2, but I look forward to seeing exactly where this guy is actually going to play at once, now that he's on campus, now that we can get in practice, and let's see exactly where Coach Pope is going to use him the most. Once again, if you watched him play over the years and you say, hey, Big Mike, I wouldn't put him at a 4, I would probably put him at a 3 or something like that. Please leave that down in the comments as well. I love to see. I have no problem with people fact checking me or telling me that I got it wrong. There's no issues with that. So please, once again, leave your comments down below if you think I got the 4s right as well too. So once again, the 4s are Carr, Ansley, and Trent. That's who I got as my 4. And of course, I think the easiest, I think the easiest, of course, was the 5s, which is going to be Garrison, or it was Garrison and Williams. So I think those guys have that position locked down pretty well. Sub in and sub out or whatever. I think that's kind of how it's going to be. Now, also something that I was really looking at too as well. Is it really cutthroat on who's going to most likely start? I mean, we could sit here, and I'm gonna look at some. I pretty much listed everything in the order that I thought was going to play, who the backup was going to be, and everything like that. My question is, so my starting lineup, if I had to start today, is, and I think that's what it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be like a big secret if somebody else could. Now, somebody can play their way into a starting position based off Coach Pope's mindset and how he decides to let people start. Is it based off how well you practice? Have you put in the work? Did you hustle the most? It's a lot of factors that will probably go into play with determining who coach decides who he wants to start. But for this show particularly, I went ahead and put Butler as starting at the 1, Robinson at the 2, Brea at the 3, Carr at the 4, and Williams at the 5. I think that's a pretty safe. I think that's a pretty safe analogy, or a pretty safe guess of the guys that's going to start. But once again, it's so much that can go into this. And for me personally, I hope it was like Coach Pope when he was in college, and it was the best man who practiced the hardest, who had the most energy, who put the most out in practice, was able to get that start. And what that does is that just makes the other players practice that much harder, so we can maximize the potential that we have in every single practice. My next question that I actually raised to myself is, well, if you got those starting at the 5 as a starting 5, who do we have coming off the bench first? We know this past year what we had Dillingham and we had Shepard. Both of those guys came off the bench as a duo, and that just became unless Wagner was hurt and Shepard had to start. Overall, every ball game, these guys always came in at the same time. So the question is, do we have two particular guys that comes off the bench regularly together to be the 6th and 7th guy, and then we fill everything else in? For me, if I had to look at that, and if I had to say, okay, for me, I have to say that the first person off the bench, I would say the first 2 off the bench, and maybe as a pair, would probably be Krissa and Ortega. I think those guys would definitely come in to replace those guys first in the ball game. But it could be, I mean, I'm looking at the list. You can bring in Ansley for Carr if Carr is not getting the job done in the immediately of the ball game. You can either look at Chandler, he can come in, or you can look at Perry, who can come in at the 3. I think it really, once again, it all comes down to the ball game. It really comes down to who we playing and what kind of energy are we bringing that night. We know some guys every single night is not going to bring it starting the game every single night. And because of that, do we have those guys that come? I mean, that's scary to think that if we wanted to come right off the bench with Krissa, Ortega, Chandler, Ansley, and Garrison, or we want to come off the bench with Krissa, Ortega, Perry, Trent, and Garrison. we got so many combinations that we can come off. If we're not going to do the platoon, I just don't see us doing that. I don't think that's what's in Coach Pope's sleeve or in his game plan is to do a platoon system. Maybe if he does it, maybe we can come up with a different name. So it's his trademark and it's not the other coach's name or his game plan from before. But I feel like just because of the amount of players that we got coming in that's here on campus, they're not coming in anymore. They're here. And I think that's the exciting part now. Now we can start putting these pieces together. Now we can start trying to figure out as fans who's going to start, who's going to do this, who's going to have the personalities. And, it's for me, when I'm able to see some of these players and like some of these pictures or these videos, and when you start seeing them up against each other, or as far as standing next to people, you start to get appreciation of how tall some of these guys are. I know that you hear the figures of 6'7", 6'6", 6'5", but when you start placing them up against, I guess to say average people, the 5'10s, 5'11s, or whatever, maybe 6 foot, you start to really get a true appreciation of how big these guys really are. I don't think we're going to have an issue with when we got to play teams like Tennessee, when we got to play Arkansas, when we got to play Clemson, when we got to play these Gonzaga. I think we have the size, the speed, and the ability to match up with any of these guys. And I think because Coach Pope is so smart, I think we're going to start out with certain people, of course. But I think because when we're going to have to make the in-game adjustments, I feel like he's going to be able to point to the bench and says, we need you in because this is particularly what you're doing. And this right here, this is probably what we're getting hurt on. So you get in and you do what you do, and we'll be able to do that. I'm looking forward, we always look forward to our starters. We always do. And I know every team does. I look forward to seeing Jackson come in, taking his guy off the dribble. That's what we came here for. That's what we essentially paying him for, is to come here and take his guy off the dribble, get a basket when we need to. But these other guys that we got coming off the bench, I've always been the kind of person that I wanted to say, I wanted to see what the little guys are doing. And this is no knock on the guys who are not started. I mean, how can you say Chris is a little guy? He's not a little guy. Now, we're not talking about necessarily the physique or the size of him. We're just talking about what they can bring to the table and what they can do for a basketball team. Chris is not little. Chris has been on teams that was good. He was out there in Arizona. He made a difference in Arizona. Arizona is not a bad team when he was there. He led the team to some, for some big games. You got Ortega. He can go get some shots too. He's not afraid. I mean, he may be a step down from a dude, but I think his mindset, his ability to play basketball is still going to be something that's going to be very special. Like I've always said, I don't think he's going to come to Kentucky just to be weak, just to be soft, and just to be solid. They all understand the assignment of what they coming here to Kentucky for. And I think that's why this is so key for this year is the talent that we have. We are deep. And I don't know why teams, I don't know why the media, I don't know why other people think that Kentucky is just going to be an average team this year. I just don't think they're going to be average. I think they're going to be better. And because of the guys that we got coming off the bench, the subs, we don't fall off a whole lot, if any, when new guys come in the game. Right now, we don't really know what Chandler can do, especially from the 3-point. We've seen that he can shoot it a little bit. He's pretty good. He got the distance and everything. But we know that Perry, we know that Brea, those guys can shoot the ball. Those guys can shoot from outside. It's no secret. We got Trent Noor. He can shoot the ball as a forward. He can stretch it. We know Carr got the experience of the ACC. He's going to bring that in. Ansley's going to come in. Look, Ansley said it on multiple videos, not just mine. He's going to come in and roll up his sleeves, and he's going to go to work. He is going to earn his spot on the floor. He's already stated that Coach Pope doesn't promise anybody any minutes. You got to go out there and earn it. And that's why I'm so big on Allenmore. And not just because I had a chance to interview him, but by really believing what he's going to bring in, the intensity that he's going to make other people work. Like, he's going to challenge Carr. Like, he's going to tell Carr, if you're going to start, you're going to have to earn it over me. I feel the same way about Chrissa. Butler, if you're better than me, you're going to have to earn that starting spot on me. Period. The same way, with outside with Robinson and Brea and Williams, I think everybody else's position is kind of up for grabs when it comes to starting. And you never can tell when Williams can't be fast enough and he can't move with a smaller team. You get to throw Garrison in there and we're good. The guy can move up and down the court. He's a past McDonald's All-American. The kid can get up and run the floor. Williams can run the floor. We're going to be good. And how scary we're going to be is when you look at the players that we got here in place, and when you look at where they can play at, and when you look at who they can come in and replace, how are we going to have much of a fall off? How's people going to say Kentucky's not going to be all that great this year? They just they didn't get anybody. And that's the most ridiculous thing in the world to actually go and say, because I think the Cats are going to prove a lot of people wrong. And as a fan, I'm going to appreciate watching these guys unfold and watching these guys unleash the true Wildcat spirit and what it really means to play at Kentucky on the floor every single night. And I can't wait till these guys get at Rupp Arena and protect it. And myself, I'm going for 0 losses this year at Rupp Arena. We protect home court, and I think we got the lineup, we got the players, we got the coaches, we got everything in place that we need. Only thing that we got to go out here to do now is just execute and play basketball, because 1 through 12 can play ball. Listen to me. 1 through 12 can play ball. And I think that's going to be the thing that's going to help push us over the top, because not all teams are going to be this deep. Not all teams will be this solid 1 through 12. And I think it's going to be special. And I think we're going to show some people that Kentucky is out for blood this year, and we're back to what it really means to be a Kentucky Wildcat and winning games in fashion. Go Cats.